I'm Paul Dillon. Welcome to my YouTube channel. With a crosswind. It's cold as shit. I'm gonna put on my gloves because I don't have gloves on right now. My hands are cold. The storm is coming in. If you can see the storm clouds above me, it looks kind of ominous, but it's not supposed to snow for another 3 hours. So just as I told you guys it wasn't supposed to snow until 3, it's starting to snow. It's not bad, but it's still starting to snow, which is kind of funny. The trailhead is right behind us. We're gonna hike up that trail there. But I mean, look how dark and crazy those clouds look. Well, that was interesting to say the least. It took us about 8 hours to get home from Big Bear. To give you some context, it usually takes us about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of traffic. The plan was to leave a little early and beat the storm so we could rush down the mountain and get home. When we left, the storm hit us really hard. It was snowing really hard. Visibility wasn't that bad, but it was enough to make people slip and slide all over the mountain. There was a ton of accidents on the way down the mountain, and with only 2-lane highways, it took a long time to get the tow truck driver up there to pull people out of the embankment. Each accident took about an hour to clear up. We would get out of one accident, drive a little farther down, there'd be another accident, and it just continued on and on and on. We ended up pulling over at one point about halfway down the mountain. Well, there was a gentleman that was pulled over and he asked us for help. He somehow made it past the chain gang that were very strict on having chains. Somehow he missed them. So his plan was to have us take him down the hill so he could buy chains. Then he would Uber back up the mountain and then install the chains. No Uber driver is going to drive all the way back up to Big Bear in the snow. Even with a 4x4, it's a risk. So we told this dude to tow the car, because it probably would have been, at the end of the day, probably a little cheaper and much faster. He wanted us to drive him to Walmart. So we did. We drove him to Walmart. It was snowing really bad. It took us another hour and 45 minutes to get there because there were so many accidents. We got to Walmart. It started to rain really hard. He ended up buying chains. He called 5 different Lyft drivers, a bunch of Uber drivers. No one would drive him back up. So we came up with a plan to take him halfway back up the mountain and drop him off to where the chain people were so that he could potentially hitch a ride with somebody that was installing chains to get back up to his girlfriend. Every time he asked somebody, they said no. He finally found one person that said yes. The husband said yes, the wife said hell no. So we ended up driving him around more, trying to find people to take him back up the mountain. Finally, he felt bad for us because we had drove him around so much. He's like, you know what, just leave me here. I'm gonna do what I can. So I gave him my gloves. Cody gave him some like heat packages so that he could stay warm. And the second we left, it started hailing super hard. I felt so bad. Earlier in the trip, he Venmo'd Cody some gas money. So when we got home, Cody messaged him through Venmo. He is safe, he is alive, thankfully, because I could not stop thinking about him on the way home. He made it up the hill. Took him a long time to get back up to his car, but it was just nuts. Like, what was supposed to be a simple trip to Big Bear ended up being this journey to try to get home. I will say, being on the roads, standing outside of your car on the street that you typically don't get to stand on with a bunch of other people waiting for a tow truck to come pull the car out of an embankment, was a pretty rad experience, just kind of being there in the snow. So this is where I'm going to conclude this week's vlog. I doubt the next couple of vlogs are going to be this exciting, because I don't think we're gonna get stuck in any kind of storms or any blizzards, but hey, you know, who knows? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, 1% better every day.